Hello and welcome to the TMC Newsroom. My name is Rich Tehrani. As always, thanks for watching. We're at the Cloud Expo 2011 to be specific, and we are in New York, and on our program is Alan Atkinson, and he is the President and CEO of Xiotech. And Alan, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Rich. Appreciate that.
So let's start off by talking about Xiotech and what your company does.
So we're a storage company, and we're at the forefront of what I think is the next big wave in storage, which is the movement towards solid state and away from spinning stuff. And if you look at where the industry is going, I think the high performance sector of storage is going to, over the next 5 years or so, move largely to solid state, NAND, DRAM, basically non-spinning media. We've just introduced a product called Hybridize that actually goes GA this week. That's actually a combination of spinning media and solid state, and we're really excited about it. So that's sort of what we're really here talking about.
So it's kind of like a cache concept of where the performance of a solid state with the total storage of spinning media?
Well, it's kind of the opposite of cache, actually. What we've done is we've developed a very unique algorithm called CADP, Continuous Adaptive Data Placement. And if you think about cache, what that is it's like a set of shelves at the front of a warehouse. And everything that comes in goes on those shelves, and when the shelves are full, you start throwing stuff in the back, right? And it gets slower. Well, we're kind of the opposite. We actually write everything down to disk, which, believe it or not, is a reasonable thing to do because A, it lets you use cheaper solid state. It lets you use MLC instead of SLC. And secondly, it tends to be rather slow to write to solid state, believe it or not. They're really optimized for reads. So then what we do is we have an ROI algorithm that looks at the relative merit of promoting anything from the spinning disk up to solid state. And based on that ROI algorithm, we actually learn. So when you plug in our box, you'll start out at about 10,000 IOPS, which isn't bad performance. About 4 hours later, you'll be at 25,000, and about 12 hours later, you'll be at about 60,000 IOPS. But to your latter point, you're exactly right. What we do is deliver the capacity of disk, in our case 14.4 terabytes per unit, with the speed of solid state at a price that looks like disk. And that's the real magic, because you don't have to open up your box and put a server card in. You don't have to roll your own DR solution. It has got all the functionality of a disk. You literally just plug it in, and voila, you've got solid state performance.
And so the secret sauce there is the algorithm, because we've seen integrated hard disks with DRAM on them and memory on them for years. So really it's that secret sauce that you've developed.
Absolutely. So like everyone else, we use cache. So there's cache inside of our box, just like everyone else has cache. But we view cache as very separate from the way we manage the solid state disks. It's not just another layer of cache for us. We actually have a demo of this on our website that will show you what I mean by storage that learns. But effectively, our approach allows you to get much better sustainable performance. Everything's real time. So it actually learns based upon the I/O patterns that are crossing the front end. And in test after test, we've shown that our performance really is, despite what people skeptically believe when they plug it in, like solid state. In fact, we just won Microsoft's Breakthrough Product of the Year at TechEd about 3 weeks ago, which was a pretty major thing for us. We were excited about that. Thank you.
And so, okay, so basically there's some deep analytics that need to be done to try to figure out what you're going to read next.
Very deep analytics, right? and that really is the secret sauce. If you look at what we did with the first generation of our product, which is about 3 years old now, we did a lot of work to optimize performance and reliability and make things very linear so that you can basically build in building blocks, which is ideally suited for the cloud or virtualization. What we did with our second generation product that we just brought out is we introduced the concept of multiple tiers of storage and data placement between them. So the whole idea of adaptive data placement that can happen real time, so that you can take, in our case initially, it's solid state plus SAS disks, and merge them into a single image that allows you to have the performance you want, but the capacity and features that you want to pay for. But that can actually be extended even further.
So in terms of the viewers that are watching this today, how would I know that I'm a potential customer for you?
So our sweet spot is really people that have performance issues. So the typical sweet spots are things like virtual desktop environments, things like data warehousing, things like deep analytics. So we're doing very well here in New York with a lot of the major banks because, of course, when you talk about mission critical environments that have real solid ROI behind them, there's billions of dollars that pass through these systems.
Sure.
And for them,
high frequency trading and analytics and hedge funds and things like that, the amount of number crunching and
it's staggering.
Right. In nanoseconds, they need this information back faster and faster.
And very frequently what happens with some of the existing solid-state solutions that are out there is they either have very small targets, maybe they're 800 gigabytes as opposed to our 14.4 terabytes, and they're exactly that, they're a component. So then you have to roll your own disaster recovery solution. You've got to plug things in and sort of integrate yourself. With what we've brought out with hybrid ice, you plug it in and it literally just works like a disk. The replication works like a disk, the features work like a disk, there's no special device drivers. You want to have more than 14.4 terabytes, just plug another one in. And that approach, because you don't have to do anything in your application, you don't have to re-architect anything, you don't have to change anything, makes a big difference on ease of use. It is literally just, you want the thing to go faster, let me stop by this afternoon and drop a box off.
That's great. So what's next for the company?
We've got a pretty aggressive product roadmap this year. I'm not going to tip my hand too much, but it's safe to say that you'll see that continuous adaptive data placement play out in an even bigger way. So it's my belief that while the high end of storage is going to largely migrate to memory over the next 5 years, and again, there's various flavors of memory, so I'm not saying they're all equivalent, Rich.
Right.
But I think there's also a lot of growth in the archive space where you're seeing a lot of stuff just getting more and more and more dense, and that's less of a performance story and more of a dollars per gigabyte story. And so, again, I think you probably could see where I'm heading with that, but I'll stop there.
Thank you so much for being on the program. It was great.
Thank you, Rich.
Great to see you.